Number 17 in our drill skills is cash flow. Kind of redefining cash flow, because let me tell you, you can go to a lot of different schools and take a lot of different classes, and you'll hear thousands of different sermons and lessons and do's and don'ts about cash flow. You can take all the time you want to. You can Google it and spend 2 weeks reading what it has to say. But old Papo Steve-O here's got a definition that I've used for a lot of years that kind of bring it home, because cash flow is the heartbeat in your business. That cash flow keeps things turning. No cash flow, no business. So it's very important to me. And I want you to know, as a new entrepreneur, I suggest that you make it that part of you too. In other words, when you think business, when you look at a customer, when you look at your store, the first thought that's coming through your mind is, how can I improve my cash flow? How can I do it? One way is that you just say to yourself that, hey, you customer, you got my money in your pocket, and I want my money out of your pocket. And I want you so happy that you gave me my money out of your pocket, you don't turn and say, I got some more in this pocket. Go ahead, Steve, get it out of there. You need to own, as a business person, you need to be hungry to make money. You need to be proud of the fact that you have the ability to get customers to give you your money out of their pocket. Now, when you're thinking that way, something will come very clear to you. And that is, what is cash flow now? Well, positive cash flow becomes, the new definition is when positive cash flow works like this. When a customer comes through your door or comes onto your website or in some way is in your environment in a position to do business and they've got money in their pocket that they can spend, that's positive cash flow. And if that customer leaves here, leaves your sphere of influence, and that money is still in their pocket, my friend, that's negative cash flow. And that's a bad thing. Yeah, positive cash flow is when they're in your environment. Negative cash flow is when they leave and you haven't gotten any of your money out of their pocket. Now, thinking like that and training your employees to think like that will put a new zeal in your selling, will put a new zeal in your ability to make customers happy and your willingness to go the extra mile to indeed be a salesperson instead of just an order taker. Heck, we can hire order takers all day long for a low amount of money, but you want to hire salespeople who are going after that extra money, that extra upsells, what it takes to make your company stay alive and more profitable, and you have to give them the incentive to do it. Yeah, that's the cash flow lesson I want you to write down. What is positive cash flow? When money comes into your environment. What is negative cash flow? When it leaves and you didn't get your piece of it. Think that way and you're hard to beat a lot faster and make you more money. Number 18, the biggest mistake that I see my entrepreneurs making through the years, the biggest mistake that I see my competitors making through the years, and I want them to keep on making it now, but I want you, because you've been to my seminars, I want you to learn this lesson. In marketing your product and services, if you are so uppity and sophisticated that you just look at your customer and say, take it or leave it, a lot of them's going to be leaving it. Oh yeah, maybe you're the best at what you do and you just do it. But maybe the reason you're saying take it or leave it is because you don't feel like you got the negotiating skills to negotiate with people. Take it or leave it doesn't work with me. It may work with you, but it doesn't work with me. I want to give that customer the real feeling that I want their business bad enough to negotiate with them. Because let me tell you, there's 3 kinds of customers. There's the customer that's going to walk into your store and pay you whatever the price tag you ask for it is. Because some people want to pay full price. Yeah, they do. If they're going to give a gift, they want it to be an expensive gift. They like to brag to their neighbors, or that's it. They got money to spend, and they want your business to do well, so they're going to pay you well. I mean, you'll see people at a restaurant sometimes pay the price of a good meal and give the waiter, the waitresses an equal amount of tip just because they got available money and want to share it. God bless those people, and we need more of them in our business, right? Well, that's That's maybe 25%, but again, maybe a third of the folks come in, they got available money, but they want the best deal they can find. They like to see that sale tag. They like to see that little bit of, we'll give you a special consideration. Yeah, I've got money to spend, but I'm just not going to throw it away. I don't make people work for my money. That's probably a majority of folks. But then you know what? That last third of the customers, they're going to come into your store and they are hell bent not to pay what you're asking for it. You don't give them a discount, and a darn good discount, or they're going to go somewhere else and buy something from someone that's giving them a discount, even if they end up spending more money. It's that I want to be cheap. I want to say that I got a good deal. And we got some stores, like Walmart, they advertise cheap, cheap, cheap. Entrepreneurs can't do that. So which group of customers do you want? The ones that want to pay full price, or the ones that want to give you a little bit of room to negotiate, or do you just want that cheap, cheap, cheap customers? Which group? Which two do you want to throw away if you just don't go after one with take it or leave it? I don't want to throw away any of them, do you? No, we want all three. So how are you going to do this? The first thing you want to do is to raise the price. Raise the price from that take it or leave it situation that you had marked down so you thought it would be sellable. Go ahead and raise the price on it 15, 20, 30%. If it was $100, now it's $130. But instead of just having that price tag message there, $130, now you've added some things of let's deal, make an offer. We've got options, layaway plans. You can use your credit card here. Let that customer know that you can negotiate some with them or offer them options to help them to buy it. When you start doing that, you have the ability to make the customer feel like they're important enough to you, you're willing to go the extra mile to get their business. Well, first of all, if you were going to sell it for $100, then probably it didn't cost you over $70 or even $50, depending on what type of product it is. So if you've raised it on up now a good percentage, you've got a lot of room to talk to that customer, and maybe they're going to offer you the $100 you asked for to begin with, and you'll get it. But let me tell you, if it was just take it or leave it, you're not going to get those offers. And it's the offers that make the difference in whether you have 4 customers today or 40 customers today. People want to negotiate. People want to feel like they're important enough to you that you make it happen. That's the key. Do not take it or leave it. Open the door to negotiating and selling instead of order taking. All right, on your notepad, we're at number 19. And number 19 is the 3 times rule. And you can go to your computer and start Googling. You're not going to find this on the internet. It's right here with Papa Steve-O. The 3 times rule is the way that I help new entrepreneurs consider how to get started in pricing your products and your services. And what I found through the years is the 3 times rule has got me started in a safe place. What I do is, and suggest that you do, is you take your cost for a product. You multiply it times 3, and that will be somewhere close to your retail pricing. Yeah, if you're using the 3 times rule, number 1, the first third of your revenue will pay for your actual net cost. The second third of your revenue will cover your overhead cost, your cost of doing business. And the third part of the money, what's left, the balance there, hopefully will be profit and tax revenue. This isn't the place you stop, though. After you use the 3 times rule, you take the price that you've got and then you do a survey. You compare it to how that price stands up in the marketplace. And sometimes you may need to raise it. Sometimes you may need to lower it. But it's a good place to start. It's also a good way to see that if you came up with a 3 times rule with a product needed to sell for $90 and you find that one of your competitors is selling it for $29.95, whoa, that tells you they know something you don't. Yeah, they may be selling it at cost as a loss leader, or they may have found a supplier that's selling it at a whole lot less money than you found a supplier. But it really raises the flag for you to find out what's going on. It doesn't mean you don't have to lower your price. It may mean sometimes that you just have to find another supplier or understand better what is all involved in this market. So to rehearse this, let's say you're a landscaper and a customer wants you to buy a tree for them. So you go to the nurseries and you shop and you spend a lot of money and time trying to find that right tree, and you pay $100 for it. And you bring it out to the customer's yard and you plant it and you water it and you fertilize it. And then after it's growing, you give them a guarantee that you'll keep it alive for the first season or until the next fall or whatever that date is by looking after it. Give them a warranty on it, so to speak. Well, that was $100 you spent. And $300 is a heck of a price tag for it, a lot of people might say. But when you consider what was all involved, it's a very reasonable price. Sometimes you might want to lower it or raise it, depending on the stipulations that are involved in that particular sale. But the 3 times rule is a good place to get started, trying to figure out what you need to charge for your services. Now, from the standpoint of someone hiring someone, let's say that you need to add an employee as a salesperson or a technical person, and you interview them. They're nice folks. They got the qualifications and the background that you need, and you look at them in the eye and say, now, how much is it going to take for me to pay you for you to come to work for me and stay with me? And that person looks at you right now and says, Steve, I need $25 an hour. Or Steve, I need $30 an hour. Or $50 an hour. Well, even at 50 or 60 or whatever it is, I'm going to smile. I'm going to say, okay, let me think about that a minute. And what I'm thinking about is, if you're asking $50 an hour, my mind tells me if you can generate me $150 an hour for your services, then I ought to consider hiring you. The 3 times rule lets me know, it lets me get a guide on, if I pay this much money for your service, how much revenue are you going to bring in? So the 3 times rule can help you a lot that way too. Now we're going to move on to our next item, which I think is number 20 on your list. And this is the 27 times rule. Yep, it's another thing from Papo Steve-O. The 27 times rule. It's related to advertising and marketing. And here's the deal. It's been proven for a long time that a customer needs to see your presentation, your image, to hear about your product or your company 9 times. 9 times before they'll do a serious amount of business with you. Serious money. 9 times. Why? Because people are anxious and nervous about doing business with folks they don't recognize or know. And they have good reason to be with all the scam artists in the world today and people coming and going. But after 9 times, that anxiety level goes down enough that they will consider you worthwhile. You're here to stay. You've been able to hold up to the test of time. So 9 times. So if I'm going to do an advertising campaign and I think that the customer needs to see this ad, or I know the customer needs to see it 9 times before they're going to buy it, then that's important. But here's the rest of the story. No matter how good you are in ad placement or where you put your signs, people will miss seeing your presentation 2 out of 3 times. Yeah, you put your sign at this intersection, they go to another one. You put your ad on this page and they turn over 3 or 4 past it. So they're going to miss seeing your ads 2 out of 3 times. So now for to see it 9 times, we got to multiply 9 times 3. 27. Yep. Wow. So if I'm in a small town that just has a paper once a week, that means I don't have to advertise 1 ad for 6 months before I can get my message to enough people. Well, that could be the case, but here's the good news. If your marketing campaign, now see, I moved from saying advertising to marketing. If your marketing campaign is keeping your word out there all the time with small, inexpensive ads, so that the people are always seeing and being reminded that you're alive and well and your company is here to stay with low-cost ads. When it's time for you to run those expensive ads, oh yeah, when it's time for you to run those expensive ads, you don't have to run them but 3 times. Yeah. Why? Because when they see that ad, they will recognize that your company is worthy of being considered. And if it's a good ad with look and hook features to it, there's a good chance they will read it. So using the look and the hook and the 27 times rule can cut your advertising cost on important big ticket ads by 2/3. It can cut an advertising campaign from $3,000 to $1,000 or $300 to $100 if you've got an ongoing marketing campaign. And that's the reason you need an ongoing marketing campaign. Now back to drill skill number 2, remember, you need a marketing campaign that's going to tell you what's next. It's going to bring in that business for you for year after year after year. So you're going to keep it out there at fairly low cost. So when it's time to introduce something new or have a special campaign, it'll pay for itself, but you don't have to spend a ton of money to do it. What you want to remember is not how much money you're spending on advertising. It's not how many ads you're throwing out there to the world. What counts is how many of them are working versus how many are not.